Hi, Ron G, the Net Worth Nation Console, talking to you today on this Financial Friday. As always, super excited to join you guys today. We always have such great things to talk about. But before we get into today's topic, I see many of you are clicking on the channel, so you must be somewhat interested in the content that we're sharing. So without further ado, just click and log on to the subscribe button so that we can get this content out to you in real time. Also, there's a lot of you that have some phenomenal ideas that you can offer the channel. Please do not hesitate to put your questions and your ideas down in the chat. I definitely would love to hear from you and would most likely be willing to feature your question on one of our next Financial Friday podcasts. So without further ado, let's get into today's material. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the importance of insurance. I know that this is not necessarily a topic that most people equate or match with cash flow and wealth creation because of the obvious reasons. When most people think about this particular product, they think about it as it pertains to the morbidity, which is unfortunately is death and destruction and finality. And no one wants to talk about things like that. And I absolutely get it. I get it. No one really wants to talk about things like that. I truly, truly get it. But I think today I want to give you guys just a little bit of a different view of the product. What was always been there, this information has always been there, but I think the unfortunate part about it is it's always stigmatized with death, negativity, destruction, morbidity, and things like that. So without further ado, I wanted to have one of the guys that I think said it better than anybody I've ever heard. And the reason why I like the way Myron brings this information is because he does it from a place of no skin, meaning that he doesn't really have any skin in the game. Listen up to what he says when he touches on the impact that this particular product has as it pertains to our wealth.
But also, we can use life insurance for cash perpetuation. So I learned this concept from a guy named Garrett Gunderson. Garrett Gunderson wrote a book called What Would Billionaires Do? He wrote a bunch of books, Killing Sacred Cows. I don't know if any of you have ever read any of his books, but I didn't learn it from him because I learned about life insurance back in the 80s, probably before Garrett Gunderson was born. But the concept that I'm talking about right now. Wealthy families that perpetuate wealth, one of the things that they do is they use life insurance for wealth perpetuation. For a couple of reasons. One, the death benefit of life insurance is not taxable, right? And so being insured, making sure you have life insurance on yourself and, hear me now, everyone in your family.
So, what exactly did he mean when he said the death benefit of life insurance is not taxable? If you haven't done so already, click on the video that I break down that shot a little while back that I talked about the tax code. And I don't know if any of you looked it up. 7702. Now, a lot of times this gets lost in the sauce because you will hear people say, well, life insurance is not an investment, it's not a 401k, it's not an IRA, and they'll say all these type of things. But that has nothing to do with the tax code 7702. The tax code 7702 basically says that life insurance products and cash accumulated in life insurance products cannot be treated as income gains that traditional products like investment tools and products produce, because it is exactly for what it says. It is to preserve and protect the life of an individual and the income earning of an individual. So again, tax code is 7702. I want you guys to look this up for yourselves, because making these types of videos and putting all these catchphrases doesn't mean much if you don't validate what Ron G is saying. All right? Keep listening up.
Did I say that too fast? Making sure but I thought life insurance was income replacement insurance. That's one of the things it does. But you don't have to, but if you're serious and not just curious about creating wealth, one of the things that you would desire to do if you knew to desire to do it is to have life insurance on everybody in your family because you already know everybody in your family is going to die. That's not what we want to think about. So we think if we don't buy any life insurance, we don't think about it, then maybe they won't die. They're going to die anyway. So think about it. Get life insurance on yourself, get life insurance on your children, get life insurance on your spouse. And I mean significant life insurance. It's worth it.
The question is, what exactly is he saying? You see, a lot of times we try to think too far ahead and we try to complicate things that are quite simple. Life insurance is basically just that. It ensures the income power, the income potential, right? And the loss of income from a specific individual as it relates to a basic family structure. So it's no different than saying that I know that my husband or my wife or what have you is going to produce XYZ dollars over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years of my life, which means that in the event that that income is no longer there, what do I do to replace it? That's basically all we're saying. Now, as far as your children are concerned, we all know, and I know this is not the old days of the 1500s and the old biblical times, and I get that, but children still are assets to a family for a lot of reasons. When we begin to get older, a lot of times, if your family is structured the right way, the younger will start to take care of the older. They will look to pull resources together. True story, case in point, when my mom was aging and she was getting sick, there were a lot of things that needed to be done for her. Now, due to the irresponsibility of not understanding what life insurance and insurance policies are, all of those proceeds and those resources had to come out of my pocket or my sister's pocket. Why am I saying that? Well, think about this. You are required to take care of the family that you produced, right? Which is your active family. And then you're also required to take care of your parents. How do you do all of that with the same income that you've been making for the last 5, 10, 15 years? In other words, if something happens to mom or dad and now you have to jump into the mix, you're still dealing with the same income that you've been dealing with the whole time, right? And so now what happens is that you're burdened because now you're trying to take care of the funds, resources to take care of your current family, which is your obligation. And now you're still over here trying to take care of your parents, which is also your obligation. And so now you begin to see how challenging it can be when life insurance or insurance policies could have removed that. And I want to say this before I let you go to the back to the video. You always hear this story from people that they say, well, you know what? I don't care. Put me in a box. Throw me in a river, throw me in the ocean, all that stuff. It sounds good. Or they'll say, I'm not leaving my kids anything, or my kids don't care about me to take care of me. But did you ever think that the real concern is not so much the kids couldn't take care of you? And I'm not saying there are not children out there that are not worth any, wanting to take care of their parents. I'm saying that what if it was easier for them to do that because we were responsible when we had the money coming in to do the things that would make it easier for our kids to take care of us, right? And so we have to think about those things as well. But let's get back to the material. I don't want to hold you too long.
I don't sell life insurance, so nobody can accuse me of trying to make a sale. I don't sell life insurance, but I bought tons. Why? Because I want my wealth to perpetuate. What people don't realize is how someone in your immediate family dying affects you. They don't realize it until it happens. They don't realize how surreal it is, how energy draining it is, how distracting it is, how confusing it is, how surreal it is. And they feel like, well, if somebody dies, I'll just go back to work and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's what you think you'll do because you haven't experienced it yet. You don't understand. You cannot conceive the level of distraction and the level of anguish that comes with that. And so having life insurance gives you the ability to step back from a minute. If you, now maybe going back to work is something that would be beneficial to you, but it depends on who you are. Maybe not. But wouldn't you rather have the choice, right? And while your children don't provide income, generally, right? They do provide a sense of significance and responsibility and purpose. And if one of your children dies, you're not like, I don't want to profit off my family's death. Okay, right. I get that.
I want to go back to the part where he says your children don't provide income, but it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. When you think about when you have aging parents, and again, I'm speaking from experience, you, the son, the daughter, or the kids, and in some cases, it may just be one child, are required to do the best you can for your parents. It's going to be on your heart to want to do that, because the reality of it is that they took care of you, when you couldn't take care of yourself. And so the natural train of thought is for you to want to take care of them when they can't take care of themselves. And so when they don't have certain insurance products in place, it makes it a struggle. Again, a lot of this conversation is not one that most people want to be had, but the reality of it is that when you think about wealth, and when you think about the growth of wealth, and even he said perpetual wealth, and how people that are considered multimillionaires and more, how they were able to produce these types of wealth is because primarily they knew how to protect. So let's look at it from a specific. We know this is the height of the NFL football season, and we all know that, college football, whatever floats your boat, or high school football, right? For those of us who have kids, nephews, and so on and so forth in high school football. And we know that we've seen teams that can put up points and score like nobody's business, right? They score and they score and they score. And we know that no lead is safe, as they say, in the NFL, right? No lead is safe in college football. No lead is safe. Why? If you are unable to play defense and stop the opposing team from coming back and scoring now upon you, you know that in most cases, you're not going to be considered a good football team. As a matter of fact, in most cases, if you can't hold a lead and you can't play defense to keep the opposing team from running you back and taking over the game and winning it, most likely you're going to have what we call a losing record. Well, let's think about this in the same way we think about protecting our income and wealth. Because you guys know, like I know, there's a lot of people out there that have made a lot of money. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to the channel, and also click on the income tracker, the spending tracker that I have down in this video to make validation of what I'm about to say right now. In other words, most of you know that you have had money going right through these for years. Even my 30-year-olds, 30, 40-year-olds, right? And so what happens is because of the inability to play defense, meaning to get stops, meaning stopping the money from going out so that what's coming in begins to override what's going out, you know that you're also losing not just on a football field, or a basketball court or a baseball field, but you're losing literally in the game of financial stakes in life. And so this is why this video is being presented to you, because what we're trying to say is that insurance is a form of defense. In other words, you have to protect the income that's coming into your house. And we don't plan it. We don't predict going up on a ladder, slipping and falling. We don't predict walking outside and a freaking lightning bolt strikes. We don't know where hurricanes are going to go and tornadoes are going to go. They just go wherever they go. We don't know when any of these things are happening. We don't know when somebody's going to rear end us or T-bone us or whatever it is. These are things that we do not know. But one thing we do know is that if any of those incidents happens to any of the significant others that are in our household, we know that financial trouble is lurking right around the corner.
Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Like there are guys that have like if you're a married man and you have a wife and children and you don't have life insurance, shame on you. You don't have like I shouldn't say shame on you, but like do something about it. Like if you don't have life insurance because I don't want my wife to have all this money and then she goes marry somebody else, blah, 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 and then this dude's doing my money. Okay, right. But you want her to have to go find somebody else because you didn't take care of her. Did I come out swinging too hard? Well, my wife doesn't generate any money, so I don't need life insurance on her. Right. So you're going to leave your children at home and go back to work when their mom dies because you can't stay home with them and encourage them and strengthen them and bless them with your presence in the hardest time in their life because you didn't have enough foresight to have life insurance. All I'm saying is let's stop pretending that we're not going to die. And let's act like the clock is ticking and we're all expiring. And if you will set up your life where you prioritize this as step one, this is step one, this is step two, and this is step three, then you can create generational wealth.
Now he goes on to say this is wealth building 101. But I also like what he says. When you think about your significant other, the worst thing you want to think of in the event that you are passing on and something happens, the first thing you think about is what about my family, right? I'm almost sure of that, unless you don't have one, I guess. But at the end of the day, when most people are in trial and tribulations and trauma, they do think about their families. They think about back home. You've seen this in the military, on the battlefield. You've seen this when things have happened to people prematurely and they've shared their stories and testimonies. They think about their family. So do you really want to be thinking about, doggone, I got young kids back home, they're not going to be protected. um, Wife is going to have to maybe get with somebody that she doesn't really want to, because she can't be selective about the next person that she brings in her life, because let's face it, death do you part, she can go find another person. But do you want her to find another person because she's worrying about paying her bills? Someone that could potentially not be a good fit for her or your children that you leave behind, but because her bills are overrunning, she makes a decision that she really doesn't want to have to make. And so, or vice versa, or the husband has to make a decision. And now you're worrying about how somebody is treating your children. You have to really think about things that you don't want to think about. But I tell you what, before I let you go today, it's not as complicated as you think. It only takes taking income out of money that's being spent on things that are not bringing value, don't even feel it, put it on auto pay, and go on and live out your life. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, these events will happen. But at the end of the day, you can say, I play defense. Ron G, aka your console, with the net worth nugget for Financial Friday. Talk soon. Peace. Ciao for now.